All right, let's talk Michigan Wolverines football. Of course, the spring game has come and gone. We're starting to see what the Wolverines are going to look like for the 2024 campaign, and it looks like the most important position of them all, the quarterback position, has just taken a potentially interesting turn based on the results of the spring game. Let's get into the report, and then we'll talk about what it means on the other side. This is courtesy of The Athletic. Alex Orji got most of the buzz this spring as the player staking a claim to the starting quarterback job. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy is going on to be a first-round pick in the National Football League. But Davis Warren has been around the longest of any quarterback on Michigan's roster, and it's easy to pigeonhole him as the steady-handed backup who isn't quite a Big Ten starter. Could Warren be more than that? He stated his case Saturday by throwing touchdown passes of 48 and 42 yards in the fourth quarter. The first was a rainbow to Kendrick Bell, who slipped behind the defense and cradled the ball into the end zone. On the next season, Warren threw on the run and hit Frederick Moore in stride as Moore angled across the field and won a foot race to the pylon with DJ Waller. All right, with the emergence of Warren potentially as a viable starting quarterback candidate, I think it's safe to say this Michigan Wolverines quarterback situation just got a little bit more interesting. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, but first, Michigan fans in the comment section below. Look, obviously, as I'm sure you guys are very well aware of, the NFL draft is only a few short days away. So in the comment section, give us your favorite Michigan Wolverine football player who went on to be a first-round pick in the NFL. There's literally, it seems like there's 500 million of them, but make you pick one. Give us your favorite Wolverines player who went on to be a first-round pick and put them in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on the Wolverines quarterback situation. Is there a controversy brewing here, or what's the deal here?
I don't know if controversy is the right word because I think people have been sleeping on Warren for a long time. So I think it's something that we maybe should have expected a little bit. Now, I think Orji and Warren, they're both probably A and B as far as the two guys that you would think could possibly take over this starting job. Jaden Davis and Jaden Denagle, probably not really in the mix right now. But you look at Orji. Orji came in. We know that he didn't really get to display everything that he's capable of. He's a competent runner of the football as well, and there wasn't too many designed runs in this spring game. So that's something we have to take into fact. But he wasn't as accurate as a passer as a guy like Davis as well, or Davis Warren, excuse me. But I think this is just really interesting to think about because this is not the first time that Warren has been really good in a spring game. Unfortunately, those other times he was really good. He was buried in the depth chart behind J.J. McCarthy and Cade McNamara. I don't think he was ever going to surpass those guys. Those guys were definitely the guy when they were there. But there is no longer a guy there. I'd say this quarterback position is squarely open. There's a possibility for people to win this starting role. There's no definite number one player at the quarterback position for Michigan right now. So I think this opens up a very interesting scenario for Davis Ward to come in and be the guy. And we saw it in this spring game. He was more flashy. He was a great passer of the football in this game. He had three of probably the best throws of the day, two of those touchdowns, and then a really long, like 35-yard strike to tight end Deacon Tolini. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name or not, so I apologize if it's not. But I love this for Michigan because, like I said, in the past, they're really, it's been McNamara's or McCarthy's for so long that when you finally have two guys who truly are competing, truly are battling it out here, I think this is a great thing for Sharon Moore too, as well as a head coach, to have two guys and say, hey, we're going to battle it out. There's no set quarterback. Everyone give me your best all throughout. Coming closer to the season, we'll make our decision. So I think this is exactly what you're going to find. The cream's going to rise to the top. And I think you shouldn't be surprised if by the end of all spring camp, summer camp, coming into fall, if Davis Warren is the starter of this football team, I would not be surprised because it's not the first time that he's performed very well.
Well, and it's not the first time that the Michigan Wolverines program has been in a situation like this. You can back up 25 years, right? And you had, of course, the famous battle and famous debate between the athletic, just superstar in the making, supposedly at the time, Drew Henson, and a guy named Tom Brady, of course, who had been very similar to Warren, of course. Not saying Warren is Brady, but their career arcs are kind of similar in terms of buried on the depth chart, considered accurate, steady-handed. when he got his opportunity, Brady, he had to fight off Drew Henson. They were splitting reps, of course, competing. And then, of course, they're competing reps in games coming out at the halves and things like that. It was a very weird situation that Lloyd Carr put Michigan in at the time. But we're seeing a kind of similar dynamic here because I think Orji is very similar to Drew Henson in that scenario, is a far better athlete than what Warren can bring to the table. His upside is ridiculous. But this is a very talented team. This is a great squad here looking to repeat as national champions or certainly make them run at another Big Ten title. If Orji's a guy who can't be accurate, a guy who can't make enough big plays, do you go with Warren, the steady hand, the consistent playmaker, to kind of keep this machine rolling and head toward another 10, 11, 12 win regular season and then make another run at a championship after that? I mean, there's a serious argument to be made for that. Now look at this Michigan team. I know they lost a lot of guys to the NFL, but they're still incredibly talented. They're still incredibly deep. Sharon Moore's doing a great job this entire offseason keeping that whole empire intact. Ohio State, I think right now, is as weak as it's been in a long time. I'm not really sure on Penn State. You look at programs moving to the Big Ten, I think USC, Oregon, UCLA, all those guys, I think they're going to have some issues. So if you look at the conference landscape, it's hard to think of a team that's, in terms of talent on paper, is in better shape than Michigan. So that makes sense a little bit why you go with the steady hand. But again, there is the upside with Orji, right? So it's this really interesting battle. Maybe they're going to do a platoon quarterback situation, but I think Sharon Moore has a really challenging decision on his hands as he gets ready for a fall training camp.